This is the NewsFeed at noon.
We have the latest information from the tragic April 12th semi-truck crash in Brenham, and an El Paso judge makes his ruling on those charged in a riot along the border. We'll tell you the outcome.
Plus, we could all probably take a lesson from this young man and what he has his sights set on. We start off this afternoon in Arlington as police have identified the suspect and victim in Wednesday's shooting at James Bowie High School, but said they have not yet recovered the gun used in that shooting. Classes were canceled yesterday. Police arrested 17-year-old Julian Howard and charged him with one count of murder in the death of 18-year-old Atavion Barnes. He was also charged with possession of a controlled substance for having what police believe to be a THC cartridge. Arlington Police Chief Al Jones said Barnes was shot 5 or 6 times.
Officers say they tried to perform life-saving measures on Barnes while waiting for paramedics. He was taken to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. Howard tried to flee campus, but police found him and took him into custody without incident. Officials said the two students knew each other and that Howard targeted Barnes. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is assisting Arlington police in the case. Investigators are working to determine a motive. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Civil rights icon Opal Lee will receive an honorary Doctor of Human Letters degree from SMU. Lee led a national campaign that led the creation of Juneteenth, or June 19th, as a national holiday. The National Juneteenth Museum in Fort Worth is expected to open to the public in 2026. According to the grandmother of Juneteenth and retired teacher, has already received 7 honorary doctorates. Her 8th degree will be presented at SMU's commencement on May 11th. The presentation of her degree will be included in the live stream of the commencement.
A second person has died after a stolen semi crashed into a driver's license office in Brenham earlier this month. She's identified as 63-year-old Cheryl Turner. Bobby Huff died the day of the April 12th crash. A third person remains hospitalized in critical but stable condition. Clennard Parker faces a murder charge and 5 counts of aggravated assault. Police say he was denied his commercial driver's license at the driver's license office the day before the crash. A Texas judge dismissed 140 cases against migrants charged in an alleged riot at the U.S.-Mexico border. The El Paso County Court judge found no probable cause to continue holding the migrants. Here, Heriberto Perez has more.
But 142 were charged with riot participation, and we filed these applications on their behalf, seeking an order from the court saying that there was not probable cause to arrest them and releasing them today.
Chief Public Defender Kelly Childress also said, for the DA's office could be very easy to push an indictment in front of a grand jury for all these migrants because they don't understand the nuances of the law. She added that if the DA's office planned to do that, it will take a quite lack of integrity. Now these 140 migrants out of the 142 will be released from state custody and turned over to federal custody. According to Childress, they still have holds with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. The other 2 remaining migrants, one is not in state custody, and the other one will now face a different type of criminal offense.
But what we have here is these mass arrests that don't have probable cause.
El Paso County Commissioner David Stout also told me processing any individual could cost up to $3,500. If these 140 plus migrants were set to be charged, it could have cost local taxpayers nearly $500,000. This cost would have been only for processing, not the cost for jailing and additional expenses after the hearings and the courts.
A Texas deputy was killed after he was struck by a vehicle in Harris County. Police say the deputy, John Cadeau, was assisting fellow first responders at a crash scene when he was struck by a vehicle. He was flown by helicopter to the hospital where he later died. Cadeau was a 20-year veteran of the Harris County Sheriff's Office. Fellow members of law enforcement stood at attention as his body arrived at the medical examiner's office. It's unknown if the driver who struck him will face any charges.
Students in Sacramento are not just learning about science, engineering, and tech. They're also putting their knowledge of clean energy to the test in a race. Kelly Curran is there.
I have all of my freshmen do it, and so it's a great finale to the school year. So they are able to design their own car body, and they add the kit with the wheels and everything. I say the gears will cause you tears because getting the gears to meet with the motor, and the axle is really difficult.
I was introduced to this competition by my teacher, and I thought it would be a lot of fun because I know that solar panels are a new source of energy, and it would seem really fun to experiment with that as a student, and also design-wise, we could experiment with how to make the most efficient car.
On your marks, get set, go!
And it's not just about the fastest car. There are awards for creativity, too.
We have some trophies. We have our first, second, and third place for the actual car that goes the fastest. But then we also have some awards. We have ones called the Best Artistic Award, so for that kid that designed their car just really creatively. But then we also have the Innovative Engineering Design, so that person that just really did something out of the box. We also have a Grit and a Gumption Award, so basically that kid that overcame a lot of issues throughout the day but kept racing.
We didn't win first, but I know that we finished the race. I'm proud of our progress that we made.
Many of the students participating are already planning on careers in STEM.
I'm already coming to Sac State next year anyway, and my major is computer science.
I do plan on going into engineering in the future. I don't know what school I want to go to yet, but I'm hoping to get into mechanical engineering would be my hope.
We need students to be educated in solar. They need to know about sustainable energy.
If your summer plans include flying on Southwest Airlines, you may want to double-check your final destination. We'll explain after the break.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff.
That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
Do we have a gun?
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction
and response time, which can be really dangerous.
He's here.
He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
Why?
Oh.
President Biden has signed into law an aid package providing crucial military assistance to Ukraine. This follows months of negotiations and debate. The package was passed by the Senate late Tuesday night. The $95 billion legislation includes nearly $61 billion in aid to Ukraine.
This package is literally an investment, not only in Ukraine's security, but in Europe's security, in our own security. We're sending Ukraine equipment from our own stockpiles. Then we'll replenish those stockpiles with new products made by American companies here in America. Patriot missiles made in Arizona, Javelins made in Alabama, artillery shells made in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Texas. In other words, we're helping Ukraine while at the same time investing in our own industrial base, strengthening our own national security, and supporting jobs in nearly 40 states all across America.
Pro-Palestinian protests continue to rock major American universities, prompting school officials to take steps to confront the growing crisis. The demonstrations underscore a potential challenge for President Biden's re-election bid this fall. Karen Kafa joins us now from the White House. Karen, thank you for joining us.
The protests at Columbia University are now in an 8th day, and the White House has said they have been keeping an eye on the Columbia campus and now other college campuses across the country. These protests highlighting a divide between President Biden and young progressive voters. After signing a $95 billion bipartisan foreign aid package, including funding for Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel, President Joe Biden highlighting the legislation's humanitarian help for Gaza and urging Israel to ensure it reaches Palestinians quickly.
We're going to immediately secure that aid and surge it, including food, medical supplies, clean water, And Israel must make sure all this aid reaches the Palestinians in Gaza without delay.
Biden reiterated that his support for Israel is ironclad, a backing at odds with some young progressives taking part in a growing number of pro-Palestinian demonstrations on college campuses, and whose support the president will need in November. While the national spotlight has been on Columbia's New York City campus, similar demonstrations have grown across the country this week, from Brown University in Rhode Island to the University of California at Berkeley. The White House, trying to both condemn anti-Semitism and address the gravity of the situation in Gaza, said they have been monitoring the protests.
We believe in people being able to express themselves in a peaceful manner, but when we're talking about hateful rhetoric, when we're talking about violence, we have to call that out.
Political allies of President Biden downplaying a potential loss of support among young protesters in November.
I hope they will give the president time to show that his leadership in the Middle East ultimately will prove out to be aligned with American values.
House Speaker Mike Johnson traveled to New York on Wednesday to meet with Jewish students at Columbia University and talk to them about their safety concerns. President Biden will travel to New York City on Friday, but White House and campaign officials say there are no plans for him to visit the Columbia campus. At the White House, I'm Karen Kafa.
Thank you, Karen.
Southwest Airlines is closing operations at 4 airports because of delays with Boeing jet deliveries. The airline will no longer serve Bellingham International Airport in Washington State, Cozumel International Airport in Mexico, and Syracuse Hancock International Airport in New York, while service to Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport will also be suspended. The airline will continue to serve the city's older, smaller Hobby Airport. Southwest says it had to address the operational and financial impacts of Boeing's manufacturing delays. Software giant Oracle is moving its headquarters again, this time out of Austin to Nashville. The goal is to move closer to companies in the healthcare industry, one of the company's key areas of focus. This is Oracle's second big move in the last few years. In 2020, the company moved its headquarters from Silicon Valley to Austin. The software giant said that move was part of an effort to have a more flexible approach to its workforce.
Uber Eats is taking action against restaurant impersonators in the Las Vegas area. At least 15 established restaurants say an imposter kitchen was hijacking their orders and selling those meals via the Uber Eats app. Owners say they're worried about customers getting substandard food, or worse, sick from so-called ghost kitchens. Officials at Uber Eats say they are putting a hold on bringing any new virtual restaurants onto its service until this matter is fully investigated. Uber has also created a notification program for impacted restaurants. Your weekend is here, but so are your high rain chances. Chuck is in next week to fill us in. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
You know, Lauren, I'm not looking forward to that rain coming up. Let's take a look to see what Chuck has for us with the weather coming up. Chuck.
Well, you know what they say.
April showers bring May flowers, and we have got a lot of rain heading into May next week. Currently, we're seeing some showers across the Metroplex, winds at about 15 to 20 miles per hour, and humidity at 81%. We're sitting at 76 right now, and most of the Metroplex is following suit with 75 in Denton, 74 in Fort Worth, and 74 in downtown Dallas. Out west, it's just a tad warmer, 83 in Abilene and 85 in Ballinger. We'll warm up to 81 by 4 this afternoon when the sun starts to come back out just a bit, cooling off to 79 by 6 tonight and down to 74 by 10 this evening. The threat of severe weather may affect your weekend plans, though, with a possibility of some severe weather this afternoon, but those chances go down tonight as this round of storms move off. Tomorrow, though, that's another story as a line of storms moves into the Metroplex, and we'll see the threat of severe weather increase with large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, and flash flooding, all possible as 2 rounds of storms move in Saturday and Sunday. Confidence in storms impacting North and Central Texas Saturday night into Sunday is high, with chances for moisture increasing overnight. A highly unstable atmosphere will lead to the development of severe thunderstorms along a dry line into Sunday morning, with a risk of heavy rainfall across portions of North Texas. The risk of flooding will be highest along the Red River. Breaking it down, we have 40% coverage today, a break in activity tonight, 50 to 100% chances tomorrow, and 90% coverage on Sunday. The high for Saturday, 81, 78 on Sunday. Looking ahead into next week, dry and 84 on Monday and Tuesday. Then grab those umbrellas as we have rain chances Wednesday through Sunday with 81 on Wednesday, cooler and 77 Thursday, 81 Friday and Saturday, and then 83 on Sunday with a 50-50 chance of showers for Cinco de Mayo.
In Central Florida, the Kissimmee Police Department has charged a man with first-degree murder in the death of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Stephen Stearns, who was Madeline's mother's boyfriend, allegedly dropped her off near school on the day she went missing in February. After a long investigation, police found disturbing evidence on Stearns' phone.
The evidence shows an individual that was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing. For the 4 days following her disappearance, the entire community was actively looking to find Madeline safe and alive. Tragically, on March 1st, Madeline's remains were found.
A couple in South Florida was arrested after causing a scare outside a daycare facility. The woman says it was all a misunderstanding, as Jessica Vallejo reports. Jessica.
It was a poor decision.
A woman who pulled this stunt speaking out after causing a daycare scare.
I didn't know there was a daycare there.
Estrella Pereira and Miguel Ruiz were seen taking out 2 rifles out of a Corvette and then aiming straight at the Devon Air Kitty College near Southwest 112th Street and 123rd Avenue on Monday. But Pereira says it was a serious mistake.
Pin and I, we're not bad people. We will never harm anyone or anything. We're bodybuilders and we're into the social media thing, YouTube channel, Instagram, so forth. And he thought it would be cool to take a picture with a gun because with muscles and guns, and it sounds really cool, like if you look at a photograph like that.
What was supposed to be a photo shoot, according to Pereira, put the daycare on lockdown.
We did everything in our power to protect the children that are here in the facility, and we followed every measure to stay safe.
And alarmed many parents.
Super dangerous as a father or as a grandfather as I am to have something like that happen here.
I was shocked because what type of people, why would they be doing that?
Pereira has since bailed out. As for Ruiz, he's still being held at TGK.
My understanding may have been doing this for social media purposes or an advertisement.
Duel now facing serious charges.
It's ridiculous, and yes, it is getting blown out of proportion, but I do understand the severity and how it could scare somebody, because I would be freaked out if I saw somebody doing the same thing. I'd be freaked out.
This young girl knew all the arts and crafts she did at a younger age would someday pay off, and it certainly has, when the Newsfeed at noon returns.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
An 18-year-old from Massachusetts is working toward an ambitious goal, flying solo across all 7 continents. If successful, he'd be the youngest person to ever do it. But this pilot wants to complete this journey for more than just the accolades. Joanna Burris has the details.
This plane has been heavily modified for the trip around the world.
18-year-old Ethan Guo is striving to become the youngest person to fly solo around the world, touching down on all 7 continents.
Your vertical speed, you're heading. This is one of your GPS positions.
And this dream is fueled by his even bigger heart. He aims to raise $1 million for St. Jude Children's Hospital for cancer research.
A couple years back, my cousin, who was 18 at the time, he was diagnosed with stage 4. He was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Guo was raised in Milton, Massachusetts, and says he's been planning this journey since he was 13 years old. And now that it's backed by a cause, he says he feels more determined than ever. But he's faced some hurdles. He says he attempted the flight 6 months ago, but encountered engine failure at 12,000 feet.
The plane ended up being down for 3 to 4 months.
He says now that his plane has a new engine and nicer weather is moving in, he's ready to tackle this task again and again until he's successful, encouraging anyone with a dream to chase it.
At the end of the day, it's okay to be delusional, it's okay to set big goals, and it's okay to dream big. But when you dream big and when you set big goals, you have to be willing to sacrifice to accomplish what you want.
Thank you, Joanna. In Massachusetts, an 11-year-old is doing all she can to help dogs and cats find forever homes. Malia Martinez uses her newfound sewing skills to craft bandanas for shelter animals in hopes of helping them get adopted. Sam Reed reports. Sam.
On a weekly basis in Westport, Malia Martinez spends a majority of her time in the upstairs of her grandmother's home.
So normally I come home, I eat, and then I usually go upstairs and work on some, yeah.
A while back, the now 11-year-old learned how to sew.
I got a gift certificate for Christmas to go to start sewing lessons.
And ever since, she's been working to perfect the craft with a bit of help.
I'm not a sewer, and so my mom has helped her. My mom cuts the fabric out for her. She monitors her. She helps her when she needs to iron the fabric, things like that.
Malia has made many things, but for a few months now, there's something in particular she's been pumping out.
We've made so many, it's hard to keep track. We have a bunch of them.
These beautiful bandanas for some 4-legged friends.
Malia gets into lots of things, and when it has anything to do with caring and helping, she really puts her heart into it.
The heart part is evident. Her beloved dog Jada passed away at the age of 15, and since dogs aren't allowed where she lives, she began spending time at local animal shelters.
When I go to see them in the animal shelter, it's kind of sad. So I thought if we maybe got them a bandana, they would look cute and be like, oh, this one's cute. Maybe I can adopt this one, and they would get a home.
And that's how this room got started.
Sports ones over here.
For many weeks, she's been working on dozens of bandanas of all kinds and colors. Besides gifting the bandanas to the shelter, she also sells them at pop-up events.
Between $3 to $7.
Then she uses the money from her sales to donate to dogs.
She's really, really kind, giving person.
They were very happy and very appreciative, which made me feel really good inside.
With hopes that her business will boom, the goal is to help as many animals as possible, in every way possible.
It makes me happy to see how it's impacted people and the dogs.
Michelle Meredith shares a heartwarming story you don't want to miss. We'll be back.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because it felt like a failure. And then I realized, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
I taught for 20 years, but I started forgetting my lectures. Eventually, he had to quit. My therapist recommended we go to the doctor. The early Alzheimer's diagnosis allowed us to take control of the situation. He's been such a positive force and so loving. Thank you. You're welcome.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
A little boy is now an honorary Orlando police officer, thanks to Make-A-Wish. He's an avid Paw Patrol fan who made it through a difficult medical diagnosis. Now he's a natural at law enforcement, as Michelle Meredith reports.
A day in the life of an Orlando police officer never begins pulling up in a chauffeur-driven stretch limousine. But it was not just any day for Officer Stone Hicks. Working with Make-A-Wish, he packed a whirlwind of crime fighting into a matter of hours. Years ago, Stone was struggling with kidney failure. His dad donated one of his kidneys 2 years ago, and he's doing great. But since he's always dreamed of being a police officer, the Orlando Police Department and Orlando City Soccer set him up.
Our kids go through so much when they battle their critical illness, and so we're really here to celebrate him and give him that hope and strength and joy in his life.
The SWAT team delivered his pint-sized uniform. Stone was dutifully sworn in by the chief.
Congratulations, you're a police officer.
The breaking news update, we just got word of a bold dog napping.
His name is Rocky. Please help me find my dog.
And within minutes, Officer Stone got his first case. A doggone dirty criminal stole a pup. He solved the first case before you could bark woof. With one arrest under his belt, the officer learned a T-shirt stealing thief made off with an Orlando City jersey. And Stone just got intel that the suspect is at the soccer stadium. When Officer Stone caught up with him, was he ever sorry?
I'm so sorry, Officer Stone.
After putting not one but two perps in cuffs, the seasoned officer came back to headquarters to a hero's welcome and posed for pictures in his shiny new cop car.
Him being in the police cars and rushing to the bad guys and arresting them and everything, it was like a full-on experience for him. So one that I'm pretty sure he will not forget.
But for Officer Stone Hicks, it was all in a day's work. You were awesome!
I was awesome.
In Orange County, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
He was awesome.
That was
Such an
so
amazing
sweet.
story.
Make-A-Wish is such an incredible organization.
And thank you to the officers that let him live his dream for one day. That is all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. I'm Victor Aldana.
And I'm Lauren. Have a good rest of your weekend.